I took a DNA test for my kids. The results destroyed my marriage and her life. Love was supposed to be an anchor, something steady to hold on to when the world turned chaotic. Maybe that's why I clung to Claire so tightly, ignoring the creeping doubts that whispered in the back of my mind. We had been married for 12 years, 12 long years in which I worked tirelessly to provide for our family. Our 2 children, Ethan and Lily, were my world. Every overtime shift, every sacrifice, every missed moment of personal happiness, I did it all for them. But something wasn't right. It started small. A shift in Claire's tone, an absent-minded smile while looking at her phone, laughter that wasn't meant for me. She was always texting, always out late, always distant. When I confronted her, she would sigh, roll her eyes, and make me feel like a paranoid fool. "You're overthinking, Adam," she'd say with that dismissive chuckle. Maybe I was. Maybe I wanted to believe that. But you don't spend over a decade with someone and not notice when something feels off. The real crack started 2 years ago. Ethan was 9, Lily was 6, and sometimes when I looked at them, a strange, nagging thought gnawed at my mind. Their features, something about them didn't quite match. I hated myself for even thinking it. So I buried it. Until the night I found Claire's old phone, and my world shattered. I don't know what possessed me to turn on Claire's old phone that night. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was my subconscious screaming at me to stop ignoring the truth. She had forgotten it in the drawer when she upgraded to a new one. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. I should have put it back. I should have just walked away. But I didn't. The messages were still there. Years of them. Different names, different numbers, different men. Some were nothing more than flirtatious exchanges, little hints of something inappropriate but deniable. Others were explicit. Sickening. My stomach twisted as I scrolled through them, my hands going cold, my body numb. 3 different men. 3. One name stood out, Nathan. His messages went back almost 11 years. The dates, the timelines, they matched too perfectly. All those nights she was working late. All the weekends she visited her mother. The times she said she needed space. I stayed up all night, combing through every conversation, putting together a puzzle I never wanted to see. By the time the sun rose, I had made my decision. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to break down. I wasn't going to let Claire manipulate me into feeling crazy again. No. I was going to handle this my way. And I would wait. I ordered the DNA tests online, quietly, patiently. Claire, oblivious as ever, went about life as if nothing had changed. She kissed me on the cheek in the morning, sent me texts during the day, played the role of the perfect wife and mother. And I played along. Every lie she told, I let it pass. Every time she smiled at me, I smiled back. Every night she lay beside me, I held her close. She had no idea that I knew everything. When our anniversary approached, I knew exactly how I wanted to celebrate. With the truth. 12 years, that's how long I had given Claire. My love, my trust, my unwavering devotion. And this was how she repaid me. As I moved through my days, I studied her in a way I never had before. I watched her laugh at her phone, her fingers flying over the screen. I noted the way she avoided my eyes when she came home late, how she smelled faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. The Claire I once loved had become a stranger. And yet she had no idea what was coming. For the next few weeks, I was the perfect husband. I brought her coffee in bed. I kissed her goodbye with a smile. I even surprised her with flowers. She thought I had let go of my suspicions. She thought she had won. It was a year before I found the messages when I first knew. I had worked a double shift and came home earlier than expected. The house was quiet, too quiet. But Claire's car was in the driveway. And then I heard it. A low murmur from our bedroom. A man's voice. Something inside me snapped. I don't even remember walking up the stairs. I don't remember how I got to the door. But I do remember throwing it open. Claire was sitting on the bed, her robe barely covering her. A man, half-dressed, shirt unbuttoned, froze like a deer in headlights. For a moment, time stood still. Claire's mouth opened, then closed. I saw the exact moment she decided to lie again. "It's not what it looks like," she said too quickly, pulling her robe tighter. "Not what it looks like." The man, Nathan, was scrambling to button his shirt, muttering about leaving. But I wasn't looking at him anymore. I was looking at her. The woman I had built my life around. And all I saw was a stranger. I wanted to walk away that night, to pack my bags and never look back. But then I heard it. Tiny footsteps down the hall. Ethan, Lily, my children, my whole world. I couldn't do it. I couldn't rip their lives apart because mine had crumbled. So I made a choice. I stayed. For one more year, I swallowed the anger, the betrayal, the gut-wrenching truth. And in that time, I planned. Claire thought she had gotten away with it. Thought I would forgive, forget. She had no idea what was coming. The DNA test results arrived 2 days before our anniversary. I didn't open them right away. I sat with the envelope in my hands for a long time, my heart hammering. I already knew the answer, but I wasn't ready to see it. Finally, I tore it open. Neither child was mine. I felt nothing. The rage, the heartbreak. I had already lived through those emotions. Now there was only cold, calculated clarity. It was time. Claire dressed in red that evening, the same dress she wore when she wanted to feel powerful. We sat at the dining table. Candlelight, wine, our children giggling at their plates. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small box. "Go ahead, Claire," I said, my voice calm. "Open it." She hesitated. Something in my tone made her wary. But she smiled, playing the role of the loving wife, and opened the box. Inside were 3 neatly wrapped envelopes. One for her, one for Ethan, one for Lily. "Go ahead, kids. Open yours," I said. Ethan ripped his open first. A small slip of paper slid onto the table. Claire's smile faded. Lily opened hers next. The same envelope. DNA test results. A beat of silence. Ethan looked at me, confused. "Dad, what does this mean?" I leaned back in my chair, watching as Claire's world shattered. "It means," I said, sipping my wine, "that I'm not your father." Claire's face turned ghostly white. "This is ridiculous." She laughed nervously. "What kind of sick joke is this?" I reached into the box one last time, pulling out 2 more envelopes. Each contained a photo, a phone number. "Since I won't be your father anymore," I said, sliding them toward the kids, "I figured you should at least know who your real dads are." Claire gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "David, please." I ignored her. I turned to my children, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I love you both more than anything," I said. "But I can't stay. I won't live a lie anymore." Claire lunged for me, desperate, pleading. But I was already standing. I picked up my coat, turned toward the door, and walked away. No hesitation. No looking back. Claire chased me outside, her voice shrill, broken. "You can't just leave," she screamed, her nails clawing at my arm. "Not to me. Not to them." I rolled down the window of my car, meeting her panicked gaze. "You did this to yourself, Claire." And then I drove away. That night, for the first time in 12 years, I was free. But it wasn't enough. I wanted justice. Claire had spent over a decade treating me like a fool, stealing my years, my love, my trust. She had built a life on my back while laughing behind it. I wasn't just going to walk away and let her move on like nothing happened. No, I was going to bury her.